Hello, Truth Seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, here's the reason why you feel anxious. And the reason is you don't know who you are. And that's the truth, whether you see it or not. That is the truth. If you think logically here, if you know who you are, would you be anxious? If you know who you are, will you be afraid? The answer would be no, in a logical sense. But to make this logic into reality, we gotta do some work though. We gotta investigate our anxious feeling. We gotta investigate our fears to see the root cause of this surface fluctuation, the root cause of the inner turmoil. And we gotta go further back in dismantling the root as well, until we dissolve all layers in us. And that's the process to see who we are. Now, you are hearing this idea. It's very hard to trust it, isn't it? And I'm not asking you to trust it, but I'm inviting you to investigate. Trusting and following blindly is another trap. Through that, you will invite another layers in your mind. And that layer won't dissolve the fear in your life, doesn't dissolve the anxious feeling in your life. But doing the math, doing the equation of the mind will help. So, that's the process. Now, not knowing or not able to see who we are naturally brings the idea of fear, isn't it? Right now, if you reflect, notice how much fear you got. Fear of so many things. Everything you are in line with naturally brings the idea of fear. And fear makes you anxious. If you reflect, why do I have this fear? If you just work on this one, you realize this present fear or the idea of fear in you is coming from the past experience, isn't it? The fear is coming from the past experience of failure, the experience of struggle, the experience of pain. And naturally, as a human being, we want to grow, we want to refine, we want to get better. And we are trying. And all our actions we are putting out to make our life better is already coming from the past, in line with the past, which is the fear. And when the fear is there, notice how much we control. We control unnecessarily. We resist unnecessarily. Or we run away from the situation. Basically, controlling, resisting, or running away from the situation is going against the nature way of things. And when you go against the nature way of things, we naturally struggle more. Isn't it? And from that, we are physically, mentally exhausted. So, and that kind of actions and mentality puts us in the same cycle that never help us dissolve the fear and our anxious feeling, the anxiety. And you know that you are experiencing that. Notice how much you have been putting effort to dissolve your anxious feeling, anxiety, the fear, but are you able to dissolve it? No matter how many books you have read on how to dissolve your fear, no matter how much techniques you have applied in your life to dissolve your fear, are you able to dissolve your fear or anxiety in your life, that anxious feeling? And the answer is no. Yes, you along the line you have always grown in your field that you have chosen, you have made things, but the fear has never left. And when the fear is not dissolved, the anxious feeling is always going to be there. And when we are anxious, notice the clarity is not there. Why? Because the anxious feeling it will make you forceful naturally to create a boundary, to create my world. So, and creating a my world is simply a division. And creating that boundary itself is again coming from the place of fear of losing what I have gained, what I have made so far. That's why all successful people, materially successful people, are always afraid of losing. Not just successful, not successful people are also afraid of not having or losing. The fear is there, and fear makes everybody anxious. And this is where the spiritual path comes in to remind us that we must see who we are. And when we see who we are, then we can dissolve all the negativity from our lives, including the positivity, so we can see things as they are rather than how we wish things to be. There's a difference. So, to be free from the anxious feeling, to be free from the fear, to be free from the past, we have to investigate why we associate with the past, or why do I have fear in my life, or why do I feel anxious? Why am I feeling anxious? So we have to do the reverse engineering of the mind to be free. Right now, to be free, to dissolve the anxious, we are adding stuff more in the mind, thinking, adding stuff is the way to eventually dissolve the limitation in life. But when it comes to spiritual freedom, freedom from the mind, it's not adding more in the mind. It's more burden. It's more conflict. It's more suffering. Subtracting, taking out layers is the way to be free. Life on the relative world, we are refining, adding, refining, and letting go of the stuff that we have outgrown. And that is towards the relative freedom. But when it comes to absolute freedom, we are not rearranging our mind. Rearranging the mind is still not freedom. Rearranging the mind feels like freedom, but it's momentary. But the struggle will come back again, the fear will linger again, the anxiety will prolong again. So, adding positivity, refining our actions and mentality in a positive sense is rearranging our mind. And we gotta stop doing that if you are seeking true freedom. It's all about subtracting the mind. How do we subtract the mind? Is by looking into our experience of fear, experience of anxiety. So we have been talking about the fear and anxiety. Anxiety is the byproduct of fear. Fear is the byproduct of the past. So it's all linked. So we can look into the fear or look into the anxiety on why do I have fear? Why do I experience anxiety or anxious? And if you look into those will help you to trace back the mind. The why, I always emphasize in every video that use why. Ask yourself why you experience whatever you're experiencing, and that's the way to trace the back mind. And no matter what answer you see from asking why, and you deepen the inward journey by using that answer, by asking why is that important. So follow in that way, no matter what answer comes in, and use the why, and that will help you to dismantle the mind. Dismantling the mind. It's like taking out the Lego pieces. You see in a Lego shop, they have created a big giant piece of art with the blocks, right? Thousands and thousands of blocks. And who we are right now is exactly that. We are a Lego piece of something grand. We think like that. And if you take out the piece from that complete art, what is left when you take out the pieces? At the end, what is left? It's nothing. And spiritual journey to figure out who we are, to see who we are, or to dissolve the fear, we have to take out the mental pieces that who we think we are. Because who we think is the mind, and who you truly are is not the mind. So we need to take out the pieces of the mind, dismantle, until we see no mind. And when to get there, we have to, be thorough, unbiased in dismantling, taking out the pieces. And when you reach there, when you ask yourself, who am I? That's where the fear drops. Basically, the ego in us drops. And when the ego drops, the fear drops, because the fear is the byproduct of the ego. Ego is making us always uncertain and always pushing us to multiply things, to seek without the boundary. So when the ego drops, the fear drops. Fear drops means anxiety drops. And there's a sense of release, naturally release. And that's where you feel sense of ease in yourself, that you are not triggered by your ego anymore. You're not triggered by your mind. You know what is mind through the thorough deconstructive approach. You don't listen to the mind anymore. You're aware of the mind and you anchor in who you are. And post-enlightenment, the mind will still rise in you, but you catch it's just the mind, it's just trying to create a story, and you drop instantly and you rest in who you are. And definitely in the world, we need the reference, so the mind is still there, but as an ally, we just use the mind to connect the dots, and the mind will be there as a reference, but not as a reality anymore. So how do we get to making the mind as an ally and to see the truth of who we are? Is using our issue, using our experience, especially experience that is fluctuating us a lot, we can trace back. We are so used to denying the issue. Even we are adding stuff thinking that will help us to resolve the issue. Anything we add to dissolve, thinking to dissolve the issue, is a distraction, is denial of looking the situation directly. Especially when it comes to spiritual path, adding is not the way. So stop adding and start looking directly, and that's the way to be free. Okay? So again, reminding you that the reason, the ultimate reason to feel anxious in life is because you don't know who you are. That's the ultimate reason. You don't know who you are. Right now, if you think you know who you are, is just the identification of the past experience, the refinement. That's who you are. And you are not your past, you're not your future, you are not even the present. You are beyond the past, future, and the present. Alright? Hope this video makes sense to you to some extent. I hope it's helping. If you like what you're hearing, subscribe and support this channel. And yeah, keep going. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye.